Yeah. Oh, good.
So how are you doing otherwise?
Good. It's a wonderful day out. I've got a
Oh, yeah.
long list of yard work ahead of me. So, but the good news is I think I've got the push down.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, better anyway.
Good.
You were right. Just slow it way down and let my body do what it wants to do. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now I have to transition from the very slow to the, get a little up to speed.
Yeah, well, do it slowly over time. Don't
Yeah.
don't worry about it.
No. But without adding my intention to it.
Yeah, well, Carol's here.
Yeah, and Jeff.
And Jeff is here.
Yeah, I just met Jeff and I met Kate and Jesse.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh.
they're out in the driveway. So.
Yeah. Jeff's wife and son are here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. His little boy, Jesse, is really cute.
It's a neat. Oh my God.
Just like the old man.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, those of us who have known Jeff for a while. Yeah. Joyce is coming today too.
Is she coming in person?
Uh-huh.
Oh, so she's going to get to meet Jeff in person. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, David, it's so nice to finally be able to do this between COVID and my mom's appointments.
Yeah.
It's been crazy. So I said today. How long I am getting there today. It's like, oh,
Well,
God.
good. Good. There's nothing like being in person.
That's what we were just saying. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Carol.
Is Bill with us today or?
I have no idea at this point. His hernia is not good and they haven't been able to move his surgery up. So I have seen him. He came to class last week or earlier this week and just last week and just sat.
Yeah. Okay.
And I did see him at Charlotte's birthday party Saturday. He did manage to get there. He didn't think he would be able to, but he did.
The last time he was even on Zoom, he was really,
Yeah.
so he was.
Well, he's found a belt that's really helping him, but he can't do much. But if he doesn't do too much, he feels okay.
Get some relief.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Not fun. Not fun.
I think I'm going to do the same. We're waiting for Joyce and we're going to have to use the restroom.
Sure.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Jeff. Welcome to Connecticut.
Yeah. It's good to be back. Your mom's not well, huh? No. In fact, our husband Neil called us. I just got off the phone as we drove up. She was actually just taken away while we were driving here to the hospital. And she's got a lot of physical problems, but it's mentally right now she's gone off a cliff. She's been deteriorating very badly. It isn't even a specifically diagnosed form of dementia, but it's something that she just goes into these states of depression and anger and nastiness and bitterness and just blaming everybody, literally everybody, especially her loved ones for everything that's going with her. That's how ill she is. She really needs to be in a very much assisted living facility, but she refuses to go.
Oh God.
And we've tried every avenue to get her here without her consent, and it's not possible.
Yeah.
But after today, I think it will be possible. She actually tried to stab herself.
Oh.
in the stomach. Yeah.
Oh, Bill.
In a minor way.
Yeah.
Not to make that career change to her life, but enough of that, it's clear that she did, and we'll probably get her. So we're gonna keep it over to move here. There's just not, literally nothing we can do now. We can't even find out any more information about her now. But we're gonna leave from here. What we can do next.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
really,
sorry.
she's not even old. She's 80. Really, she should be. Shouldn't have happened. That happened so fast. Too. I think you've met her before. She's
Yeah.
always such a nice.
That's
Hi,
Hey,
Joyce.
Jeff in
How are you?
person.
Nice to meet you in person.
All the way up from Florida,
Hi,
right?
Bill.
Yeah, my wife
Yeah.
and son are out and about, just taking a little hike while we're in here. But we're just here for a short
Are you
visit.
there, Bill?
It coincided.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
It's been
good.
so long since I've been
How you
last year.
feeling?
Last year.
I think I'm gonna be an observer.
Oh,
I think it's gonna be a long while, David.
Oh, yeah.
But I know he had tennis for now.
I'm sorry you're not doing well.
Well,
Last I heard.
I am too.
Well, we are recording already, so you'll have a reference
Oh, really?
when you can.
They were checking.
Okay,
I enjoyed hearing that.
I have two things. I have you guys here and another conversation over there.
Yeah, I can see Joyce is there.
Yes, Joyce is here.
Well, I
stick
could
with
head
us,
up,
David.
get there about 1:45.
What, Bill?
Stick with us.
Okay.
Forget those others.
Yeah.
I like putting them on as much as possible. We have a real nice yard. Go ahead, leave it by 1 o'clock. It's hot. And I don't like leaving it on 3 hours. Of course, I try to get it in by 1, but then it's but I feel like this.
Oh, I know. But you know what? I gotta get out of
Yeah.
it because, I was been a dog mom for so many years.
Yeah.
Dog.
Yeah, one was a rescue from the shelter. It was in real rough shape. The other we found. was a puppy that got sick up in the
leave right after.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sir,
Um,
so I guess we'll sit. See if
We'll
Bill-
sit.
We'll see if Bill-
Hi, Joyce.
Hi.
Is it 1 o'clock?
What?
Is it 1 o'clock? then?
104.
Yeah, it's. whew. And you're recording, David?
I am.
I don't wanna block it.
Wonder of wonders.
No, I just. I rely on them, so it's.
Well, I keep a copy of them. So if for any reason they disappear off of YouTube, you can always ask me to send one to you or do something with it. So. So we're very glad to have Jeff with us today.
And
Yeah.
I'm very glad to be here and I'm very glad to meet you guys in person.
In
It's a
person,
pleasure.
and same here, Jeff.
So, any questions? How are
I
you?
don't really have a question, except that not today, but maybe someday in the future, we can re-practice that heel toe thing. That,
Yeah,
I found it very helpful and now, but I didn't learn it well enough to keep it going.
Yeah.
So whatever, it doesn't matter, but I could do that again.
well, I've been kind of thinking that I've been throwing a lot at you. And that sometime fairly soon, we should just do some review.
Mhm.
Going back over things.
Mhm.
So you can think about what, just as Joyce brought up something, you can also think of things that you would like to review, to touch on, to make sure you're clear about. So, any issues in your practice, particularly that you want to raise? All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to throw something else
I
at
know,
you.
just plugging along, David.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah, I hesitate not saying anything because then, you never know.
Well, the
I'm
nice thing-
struggling in the same places I have been struggling, but they're getting better
Yeah.
as I practice.
And the good thing is I can see you, the three of you anyway, who are here, I can see more clearly what you're doing and perhaps help you. So the Chinese have a name for the area which runs from the inside of the knee through the perineum clear to the other knee, called the dong. And this area must be kept open. And part of the reason for this is that the energy, if it's going to go up through your hips, into your torso and up to the crown of your head and back down to your feet, has to go through the dong. And so the next question is, how does it go up? What has to happen in order to be sure that it actually goes up as opposed to remaining blocked in the hip? And there are 2 points to this. The first one is that the area of the dong is open. If the area of dong is opened up well enough, you don't have an issue of whether the qi will rise up the central channel in the body or not. You don't have that because if the dong is open, the connection to the central channel is open. But you can have a second issue, and that is if the spine is bent, and I'm not talking about a C curve here. I'm talking about if you just have a bend in the spine that you're holding, the energy that's rising up is going to go to wherever the bend is, and it actually can lock at that place in the spine. The result is that you can have 100 units rising, and it hits that place, and all of a sudden it drops to 50, 40, 10, jumps to 85, whatever. And then if you have 2 or 3 of those blocks, each place, the flow of the qi coming up from your legs reduces. And then it gets worse. The energy that is going down your body, that's the energy that clears out that which your body cannot use. At every point the spine is not quite straight, it blocks the energy going down. It's like going to the toilet and only getting rid of 50%. Which you can imagine after a while will cause a problem. So the first thing is to get the sacrum to go down, because that facilitates that the qi, when it gets to the bottom of your pelvis, is going to go to your legs and will have a straight line coming up. And when you also want to have the spine lightly lifted, and that's going to bring the qi up the body. If it goes up, it needs to go down. So you know about the sacrum, but we very often lose track of that. And particularly if the sacrum goes back at all, if instead of being down, it just suddenly goes back, you create a bend in the spine in the other direction, arching the spine actually. So that's really an important adjustment. Now we have another issue that comes into play. If your chest is stuck way forward, like the military posture, it creates a very big arch in the back, which is not a problem purely in terms of the spine, but it is a problem in that it is blocking the qi from actually moving up or moving down the body. So when the chest relaxes, the energy, once it rises, has a clear and easy path to fall down to your belly and your legs and go down to the feet. When the chest moves forward, which the Chinese call lifting the chest. Your qi blocks in the chest. It concentrates in your chest and it doesn't fully drop. And that's the reason why there are two different ways of body posture done in the Far East and in the West. The one we are using is to allow the chest to relax in. It doesn't go anywhere, but the pressure goes back. And if the pressure goes back, it starts raising the spine. And all this is in the service of basically getting your energy to go up your spine and back, and then down your chest. It must go down. And that does not mean collapse, because if your spine is raised and you relax your chest will not collapse. So, nothing to it.
I think I need to see what that looks like, David.
So, our basic focus is the dom, and the position of the sacrum obviously affects the dom, the movement up into the torso. The spine being lightly lifted, there are a number of ways to think about it. As a beginner, you'll remember me talking about the golden cord from the heavens. Well, that's not the best way to think about it. It's a good way to start. We're really thinking about the head lifting off the top of the spine. And that also causes the spine to lightly lengthen, to lightly extend. The problem with the dong is that it's very easy to close it. So if I just stand here, like I should do this in a bathing suit. If I just stand here, my dong is open. Now it's closed. Now it's open. Now it's closed. It's not a big movement. It's a very small movement. So you have to have a real focus on that until you imprint in your body that structure. And it's part of that basic qua point, knee, toes in alignment.
Is that movement coming from the sacrum movement?
No, it's coming from the qua. No. If I exaggerate it,
yeah,
it's here.
Okay.
So you're opening and closing the quad to open the.
Well, it's part of it. There's more to it than that, but you're letting. When I close here, I am closing the quad. There's no question about that. But what also happens is that you close the perineum. You also close the connection coming up from the knees. It also begins to close the connection to the sacrum. It's not just one place, it's the whole thing. And it's part of why the Chinese developed the concept that you're not only thinking about the perineum. Up to this point, I think I've only talked about the perineum. We want to keep the perineum open, and that is extremely important. It's the most yin point in the body. But you can close the perineum by allowing the dong to collapse. So keeping this whole area open is really the focus we want to move to now. Did that clarify that for you? You have more questions?
Yeah, it seems like the only way I'm really going to know if I'm doing that correctly is if I feel the energy moving through that.
Aha, indeed. And we're going to do movement looking at that. Absolutely. So Dave or Bill, do either of you have questions?
Nope.
Okay,
No, I'm fine.
all right. So let's get rid of the chairs. So we're gonna just work through a number of things, a number of the things we're working on, but working on these particular focuses. So is that a word, focuses? I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
There's
Is-
gonna be more than one focus, so yes.
I was thinking it ought to be foci.
When you asked the question, I went, yeah, okay.
Oh, well. So first thing is to just step out the shoulders width and take a moment and just breathe and stand and be aware of your structure. Notice that you are not allowing the chest to move as you breathe. Be aware of your connection down to the earth. And then what I want you to do is, and just let me tell you this first and then we'll do it. We're going to step out as wide as you possibly can and then come back in 30%. And there's no reward for being the widest stance. It's just whatever is appropriate for your body, okay? So simply step out as wide as you can and then come back in about 30%. And it's not going to probably be real comfortable for you. Remember that you want to release the qua so that you're sitting down a little. Make sure your sacrum is going straight down to the earth. And feel the dong open. And then let your knees collapse and feel what happens. Let your knees collapse in. And then push them back out again. You can feel that change, just very basically in terms of slowing, if nothing else, the sinking of the chi in your body. Then I want you to begin to rotate and shift from side to side, going as close to 100% as you can. Carol, stop right where you are. Think about your 4 points. Are your shoulders where your hips are? No. Okay. So you're making sure that you are not letting the knees collapse in, or particularly on the weighted leg, push out, because you can push it out. Now your foot does not sit flat on the floor. And just basically in terms of the movement of the energy, remember that starting from your weighted foot, as you begin to rotate, the energy is going to come up the inside of the leg, through to the other leg, and down the outside. And that's basically what you want to try to feel at first in terms of energy movement. So just a piece of the macrocosmic circuit. There's obviously more, but we're focusing on what happens from the dong down at the moment. You feel it rising higher, that's great. But for the moment, just be aware. So Carol, also shift the weight. Much better about your 4 points.
I'm not sure, excuse me, how I'm not shifting the weight.
Because you're doing this,
Okay, so,
you're not doing this. You see the difference?
Can you show me again? Show me.
Sure.
Okay.
So you have a very minor shifting of the weight. You've gone to maybe 60% on one foot. I want you to go as close to 100 as you can.
So how do I do that without closing the clock?
Oh, you're closing the quad.
Oh, okay.
I said, don't close the dom. You can close the quad. This one's open.
Right,
This one's closed. Called yang and yin.
okay. Yeah,
Sure.
like, it needs to be,
So
no?
So if you go to here, which is about what you're doing, can you pick up that other foot? But you had to shift first. So maybe that's as far as you should go at the moment.
Can I bring my legs closer together?
No, not at the moment.
That's what I want to do. Because I feel like I'm gonna lose my balance if I try to. do that.
So that may mean that you need to sit down a little further. Let yourself
No,
relax.
It's too funny.
What if I fell over it?
You didn't fall over. So
David, what is the position of our feet? What should our feet, should they be?
ideally, they are parallel and straight ahead. Unless, like Jeff, you have legs that
Mine
don't turn.
point out like this, so I can't, if I did that, it would be very stressful, so I just
Yeah.
let them go like that.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking, because that's hard for me with my legs, with my feet straight.
Yeah, the same with me, so I just do it if it's comfortable.
So one of the things is that you have to relax the quad on that weighted leg,
You have to sit lower.
and you have to sit lower.
So David, you're saying when we're on that weighted leg, I should be able to pick this leg up?
Yeah, ideally, when you get to this point, you could just pick up that foot and put it down,
Oh, all right,
but not tilt,
then that's,
not tilt. Sit on this leg and pick up the foot.
that's hard, yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that's something to work on
Yeah.
over time. Most people cannot do that immediately.
Yeah.
Most of us start at somewhere around 80 or 90%. That last 10%,
Yeah, I'm not there, definitely. Ooh,
So-
yeah. If it's a little too stressful on my knee to do that, so I don't want to, do you find it, Joyce? It's
Yeah,
low-
that's
loading
why,
up my knee.
that's why I stopped, because it's
So it's a-
starting to stress my knee.
so if it's stressing your knee, that tells me two things. A, you're probably not fully relaxing the quad. And secondly, you're probably trying to turn from the knee too. And the knee never turns,
Right.
period. So that may limit, your movement may be initially very small. And that's okay. You have to find where can you comfortably do that and remain just on one level. Remember, we're not going up and down. We're just on one level. At the same time, you want to think of lightly lifting the spine. So not looking down,
Concentrating. So
and relaxing the shoulders. Dave, rotate and shift. Yeah, good. Try to keep it on one level, not going up and down in the middle. So relax the quad.
My sister and I received a bird. He's not. Come on, come on, come on.
Spider. Yeah. So step back to a more comfortable wide stance, but a wide stance, not narrow. And I want you to go into the basic dynamic sphere, thinking about these things. So sinking down, twisting the arm. You're going to rotate and rise. And when you get over here to 3 o'clock, pause. And make sure that everything's open. Have you let the knee collapse? Push the other one too far out? Where's the sacrum? Where's the spine? What about the head? And then continue. So I just did a circle that time. And I'll go up. So as you go through the pattern, try to be very aware of keeping the dong open and relaxed. Remember, you don't want to allow the body to get stuck anywhere. You want the body to be continuously moving. The right thing, David, don't mislead people. What?
Oh, I felt it close, so I stopped.
Okay, good.
So, gonna
So
start.
start again. You're thinking about releasing out. Releasing in. As well as everything else.
Keeping it mostly in one plane.
What?
I was keeping it mostly in one plane.
Yeah, you gotta think about a sphere.
Continue forward.
So we're going to pause for a moment. So all of you at some point get stuck, which means something like this. You're already 100% on one foot. and the arm hasn't gotten to its maximum point yet. So for this amount here, your body doesn't do what it needs to do. Or it may happen up here. I find people get here and get stuck, and all of a sudden the arm continues for whatever reason. So this is a really big piece of everything we do. The body and the arms move together. They are one unit. And one cannot move. So one of the things to begin to really develop your awareness is if my body stops, my arm stops. So just for a moment, try it again and just look for that. Here's what's happening high in your arc.
Okay.
You tend to get too far shifted.
Okay.
That's doing pretty well, Dave.
Yeah, just have to slow it way down.
Yeah, you do.
I come up. I don't come up gradually. I just come up.
Bill,
It helps. me
that's looking pretty good, actually. I know you can't go up and down. Remember that the S curve is only half the width of the whole ball. It doesn't start at the width of the whole ball. But otherwise, that's looking pretty good. You're keeping moving. Don't overdo. Okay. So now pause and questions, issues.
No, I think I'm okay. Just have to practice that one a little more with mind. Because I usually get to the 100% way before I should.
Yeah, yeah, it's easy to do. Anything for you guys?
Like you just said,
Yeah,
it's
right.
a lot of movement for just a little shift.
Yeah.
You gotta work that ratio out.
You really do.
Yeah.
And I noticed I was all the way up and my arm was still coming. or
Yep.
That wasn't so good to, this whole dong thing and keeping it open, I'm almost feeling like I need to be lower than I normally, that maybe my start stance is
Could
lower.
very well be. Yep. So now I want you to step out to a bow stance, a good,
A good one,
a good.
like he said last time, remember? I want you to
Good
stand in a good, like, would you let me stand in a bad one? No.
So I think your rear toe needs to be turned in more.
One more.
So can you comfortably rotate all the way forward with your weight on the forward leg? And how does your rear knee feel? I still want you to turn the toe in a little bit. 'Cause,
Right there.
yeah, it should be about 45 degrees or even a little less.
So the back foot should be 45 and the front should be
Just straight ahead.
Okay.
So if you're,
There's not much distance between.
so if this is your front here,
Yeah,
then, no, that's right, stay where you were.
okay, stay here, right?
Right, so that's not 45,
No, this is-
there's 45. It also needs to be wider like that.
That's where I have trouble getting the width.
And that's just step out into the bow stance, step back, step out and again on the other side, back and forth. Just do it until when you step out, if it's wrong, it feels wrong. If you don't do that, you just don't have it. Yeah, good.
You know what, if
So-
I start with the back leg at 45, it really helps to gauge that one up.
Mhm. It makes it easier to get into that.
Mhm.
So what I want you to do in your bow stance is really just what we've been doing. Rotate and shift back to about 60% and rotate and shift forward to 60%. And I'm going to suggest that you think in terms of a little bit of arc. It's not a circle or you'll be falling over, but just so that you get that little sense of you've got to open a little more in front here to keep your knee in place and let yourself turn a little so you can come back and sit on it. And you're,
Where's, sorry,
yeah,
where's the knee? Over the ankle or
Yep.
over the midfoot?
roughly over the ankle. There is, when you get an energetic awareness, there is a point that's actually just slightly forward of directly above the ankle where you actually have better energetic connection, but it is not over the middle of the foot.
And so if you tend to do that, have you not stepped wide enough or long enough? I'm struggling like Carol with just the basic. So over the years, my bow stance has changed. It
Uh-huh.
just has. And so I don't. Anyway, so how can I correct my knee not being over my ankle?
Do it right.
Step out more.
No, it's not wider. It's not wider. There is a width, roughly the width of that sideline of the 4 points. That's roughly where you want the center of your foot to be. So it's not wider than that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you turn that foot. You're going to shift onto it and you rotate out and bring this foot out so that it's straight out from its original position. And then when you go into your bow stance, you want to let yourself rotate forward. And if rotating to face absolutely straight ahead causes stress in the hip, the knee, the ankle, then turn the toe in a little bit, so that it's really comfortable. And you can just have this little round movement back and forth. And to some extent, this will also help you feel when you're in a good bow stance, because it's comfortable to do. But the purpose of this lesson is keeping the dung open while you're doing that. Because it's very easy either here to let that knee collapse, or when you get here to let that knee collapse. Very easy. So you want the knee always to be qua, point, knee, toe, as well as you can. And that is both legs. So when you turn forward, this line is still that straight line from the qua through the knee to the toe. And you gotta keep the sacrum in the right position. And the head lifted, the spine relaxed and rising. Nothing to think about.
Many focus on.
But
Many focus on.
yeah, right. Whatever that word is. Remember that here's the center of your movement. It isn't here or here or here, down here. And you can slow it down, you know. I'm really, Dave was saying how that helped him to just really slow things down, and it does. We're over rotating the shoulders, Joyce. So he's at this point.
Just correcting another movement that I've been practicing incorrectly.
I'm glad you're here. So of course, at this point, the next thing is to go into the single arm movement and again, be aware of all of these pieces. So let's see, I need to. Oops, no, let go away.
Oh, question, David.
Yes, Dave.
Talking about the feet now, where is the chi initiating this movement from? Are we still talking about toes and heels?
Oh, actually, you definitely can, yes.
But I'm feeling it more initiating from the arch to the outside of the receiving foot and back.
Well, it's initiating from the empty foot and
Right,
it's dropping down through the weighted leg.
right. So it's received in the weighted leg on the outer portion of the foot that's hitting the floor.
Yes.
When I come forward, it seems to come right out of the bubbling well, the arch, and up the leg and across and then down on the outer part, rather than the toes and heels. That's what I'm trying to clarify.
Okay, so actually the energy ideally, when it drops into the earth,
Right.
goes underneath the foot and comes back up the inside of the leg.
Oh, okay.
It's not, despite the fact that we have a motion in a lot of the things that we do that looks like we're talking about around the toes. It's not around the toes, it's bringing it underneath the foot.
Oh, okay.
Because
No,
you're not tracing the foot.
Yep.
You're moving the energy down into the earth and up from the earth.
Right, that makes sense. Yep. Because then you're ready to go in the opposite direction if you need to.
Right. You got it.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Did that raise any questions for anyone else? Okay. So. You can do a short run.
Yeah, I'll just go back and forth. So that's fine.
So, do it right. So step out and forward into your bow stance and make sure it's a good bow stance. Make sure your dong is open, sacrum pointing down, spine lifted, breathing properly, and then begin. Up into the top, down through the S curve. Don't let the legs collapse. Turn the leg. As you go forward, don't let the dong collapse. As you go back through the S curve, don't let the dong collapse. Keep it open. So try to keep this all in one level, Jeff. Don't go up and down. And you have to slow your shifting forward and back in places so you don't get there too soon. Joyce, that was much better.
At the left, I've been working on it, David.
It is better. You are still hanging up the shoulder some.
I know.
If you let the shoulder go, if you focus on the scapula, now that's part of what happens when you get this movement.
Mhm.
You get the scapula moving, the shoulders. It's exactly what's happening there. You know, all through all of this, it's you know, all of it. This is all scapula. Oh, oh. If you get the scapula doing it, then the shoulder doesn't tighten up and hang up that movement.
And I have to tell you, I can feel the difference. It only happens like once out of every 10 that the shoulder doesn't get hung up. But I really played a lot with my scapulas these 2 weeks. And so, but still, I know more.
But it is definitely better. You're definitely making some headway.
Oh, yeah. You know, that practice really matters, David.
No kidding. I'm awfully glad to hear it.
Another one. I'm gonna be rescuing spiders here. I'm not, that one can stay. Are they? What
Yeah.
do they do?
They kill insects you don't want, like mosquitoes, ants. That's really-
So Dave, that
Yeah,
the left arm movement, you're still letting it go to the side instead of keeping it centered in front of the body, which
Yes,
will
I
make
am.
that will make it much easier.
Yeah, that's my weak spot right there.
Well, it's everybody's weak spot initially, but if you get
Well, I
it,
think I have to remember when you bring it in, it's got to be closer to the body than I'm usually leaving it out here, and then of
yeah,
course, and then it's got to go more to the right hand, my right hand side,
yep,
to get this part of it.
right, correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
Working on it.
yeah, and then you got to do all the other stuff too. So
Yeah, that stuff too.
that's coming though. That's good.
Yeah, it's coming along.
Yeah, it just takes time.
Yeah, it does. I just have to coordinate everything and not get sloppy too. I tend to get a little sloppy.
Yeah.
Whoop. Yeah, I gotta do that.
Practice, ladies, practice.
Oh. Go ahead. I can have. I want to take the plate. I don't want to
You're on the right track, Bill. It's just that left arm movement is an S curve, not just a single curve.
Well,
Okay,
Body is on. Uh-huh. Instead of
that's true. I'm on a whole you got me all. I'm starting again.
Bill, I'm gonna do this once, mirroring it facing you, so I'd be going in the way, at least in the direction that you're going. If I can find where I am here. Got everybody else but me.
it's been a while, David, since I've done anything.
Yeah. I want to do this for Bill for a moment. So remember that the upper hand comes close to the body, the lower hand goes out. And now this, you're just going to turn in one direction. The arm keeps turning, but through the S curve, and then turns the leg. And then this comes up the back. Oh. Nothing to it. And the thing is, you got to get the arm so you can let go of thinking about it, or you can't focus on keeping the dog open or whatever else you're trying to do. Because if you're thinking about where is that arm going, it is really easy to close the arm in that movement. Because that single arm movement, when you're here and you're continually going back, it's real easy. I just closed it down. It's real easy to do it.
Especially
Just
there.
about closed it here. I could let it go. No, if you keep it aligned, your knees feel better. Yeah.
It's easy to do because you're really trying to make it more comfortable for that uncomfortable arm position coming down, or that counterintuitive arm position coming down.
And all the things I've talked about are to make that comfortable. Because as soon as it's as soon as you think about your deltoids doing this movement,
And that's what I look like.
that's where you are. You know?
David, do it right.
Okay, so you're gonna let the scapula do it. So you feel the scapula. So the scapula, draw it down. Boom.
Do it one more time.
It's easy.
One more time. I'm watching
You want
you.
to touch my scapula?
Well, I don't know if I need to touch it, but I'm watching it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I don't know how much you could see of it.
I can. It comes in and then it goes out, right? And now it's gonna start to go out. Okay.
But doing that and then trying to think of keeping the dong open and
Keeping the
yeah,
the sacrum pointed to
Pointed
the
down.
earth and the, you know, it's-
Yeah,
and the neck lifted and so it's a lot coordinating all at the same time.
it is. It's enormous.
Yeah.
And this is, I will be honest, this is just a little part of it. There's a lot more.
next lifetime.
And I'm not meaning to make you feel overwhelmed that you're not making progress, because you are. You're all getting better. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. But really working on the scapula, getting that to be really released and moving. It's kind of interesting when I can remember, it's been, I can't tell you how many years ago this is, but probably at least 15 or more. I used to have a chronic problem of one of my scapula was constantly stuck and it hurt. And when I started working on this, I finally got my scapula moving, it went away. My massage therapist helped too, but,
Yeah.
but
We have a full-time living massage therapist. Isn't it?
no, she stopped working on me. She was too busy. I had to go to someone else.
Oh, wow.
So, other questions at this moment? I know you're pushed for time.
No,
so-
I'm fine. I'm not rushed.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay.
So obviously you can work on this in the double arm. But I thought we'd go look at the form because I'd like to see all of you doing that. And again, with the form, same thing. And one thing I might say is, Jeff, you could start here and have some room.
Yeah, I also didn't just.
Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. That is whatever it is. So again, I think one of the things that's really come up today is slow down. Really take your time, because there's so much complexity in all of the things we're working on. And if you go too fast, then you start just glossing over. If you slow down, you discover what you need to work on. So. The board off right. Shifting and rotating back for rollback, condensing. Turn and push downward and push downward. Step, shift, press forward. Cow. Shift, reset, arching back and down, connect, rotate up, touch. Down through the S curve, keep the body moving, keep the dog open. Step. Stand the right arm, right hand. Step. Rotate and shift, rotate. Then rotate and shift back. And start again. Pause it. So it's quite important that you get that pullback of the left arm. And it's not push the right away from it, it's pull back with the left. Yes. Because that is the pull the wrist and break the elbow. Yeah. And then turn. Turn and sit back, and then just that turn and sit back is expand out, big ball, right in front though, right in front of your body, and then little ball, tighten it.
I was putting my ball too much to the side.
Yeah, it stays right in front of you, but it goes from big to small. Small. Yeah. and then turn, elbows in, elbows out, elbows in, elbows out. That's coming. Keep going.
That part's my hardest.
It's tough. Pause. So when you step there, this needs to be right here. It can be actually touching. So as you go forward, now that actually here. So as you go forward, that's actually coming in. It's very subtle, but it's all coming in a little and then it comes out. And you want to palm with a long point on the inside of the arm. Yeah. And ideally there's a twist step there. So you get to here and it's forward, turn. Actually, a little coming in. And out. Good. Okay, now as you're doing that, I think everybody's problem there. Okay, actually,
Everybody and everything you already said. So.
you get here, remember this is all coming in a little. So see, my arms are rotating in, and then when I can go forward, everything can rotate out. So it expands in, it expands out, in, out. From the scapula. Yeah.
Okay.
From the scapula. And not from the shoulder. That
You caught that on the video a couple of times. So I
Yeah.
can't remember what was in it.
better. Yeah. That much. Good. So where are you at this point?
As long as I remember. Below me specifically.
Okay. Now, when you do that movement, this is for everybody because I'm seeing almost nobody doing.
David, just a quick,
Yeah.
right there, my question, are you doing sword fingers or just two fingers?
Sword fingers.
Sword.
That is sword
Well,
fingers.
Okay, so you are connecting these three when you do that,
These three.
right?
Yes, the tip of the fingers, not the pad of the finger. The tip of the fingers.
So,
So you're here. When you step to the corner, one of the things is that this arm is drawing energy in. So that as you shift forward, it can shoot energy through the arm. So this motion of this arm, you get to this point and this arm expands.
can you do that from the transition
Sure.
from the previous movement to that?
Yeah.
So you're,
What am I, from here?
okay,
I'll get it in a moment. So, yeah, you're rising and turning here.
Empty left foot at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as you go forward, this hand expands. This arm is also very slightly expanding out, but it's very subtle.
and it's not
Just-
moving out, it's not,
Well,
your elbow's not moving out?
your scapula is moving out, and so it is moving out a little, but it's not big.
The scapula is rounding just a little to open it up. That's the left scapula.
Well, it's going out, but it's also expanding from the ribs. Oh, yeah, that's the other movement.
Okay.
So it's here. And then the last one's pretty easy for most people, but so one of the things just to think about that bends is extending and extending.
And is there a little bit of a rise in that very last expansion? There's not. So you're already at the same level that you want to.
Yep.
Okay. I've been rising a little bit.
Me too. I feel like I have rising and dipping just a little, but it's,
So there are places where we sink and rise in this, but they are specific. Otherwise,
yeah,
and that obviously is all of this. All of this. Put some stepping, but filled up.
I think so.
Good class. Dave or Bill, do you have questions? I really.
Just one question. This was probably for that review class coming up.
Yep.
Just like to go over really quickly the microcosmic sphere. And, when the energy flows down the outside of the legs, up the inside of the legs, and et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
I need a little clarity on the upper part of the body
Okay.
and where the chakras are.
Oh, you want to get really, but the chakras aren't in this system, Bill.
Well, it seemed like when we were doing, of course, heaven and earth, we haven't done that in this class, but there were certain points that we would at least bring our attention to as we rose.
So the principal chakras are the same as principal acupoints in traditional Chinese medicine.
Oh, okay.
So they do correspond.
Yeah.
I'm teasing a little here.
Yeah, some of them do.
Well, those two. Talking about how many there are.
Yeah.
So just for you to have at least to think about here is that the basic macrocosmic circuit,
Right.
not the microcosmic.
No. The basic one.
Is the energy is coming up the inside of the legs and it comes to the qua point and goes through the hip.
Oh, okay.
Through the hip to the back, and then goes up the back, up through the head to the crown of the head, obviously out and in, comes down the head, down the front of the body to the qua, goes around the hip.
Right.
And down the side of the leg.
Down the outside. Okay. All right. I think I was a little confused on where it went up the inside legs and then how did it get to the back?
Yeah.
It just goes through the qua points.
Yeah. So obviously when we begin working with weight on different leg, then that pattern exists, but now you have two different ones going on simultaneously.
Okay.
So when you're weighted forward, it's coming up the inside of the unweighted leg, going down the outside of this leg.
Right.
And at the same time that it's doing that, it is doing the other movement. There is energy coming up here too, but that's not the dominant energy.
Right, okay.
So it goes here, and then as you go back, it comes up this one and down the outside of that one.
Right, okay. Okay. That clears that up.
But the thing that's really confusing for all of us is it's going in both directions in all parts of the circuit all the time.
Mm,
Okay, so
Yeah.
we do have to sort of say that underlies here. But we work on a specific movement that we intend for it to flow through.
right. Yeah, okay.
And that's the
So
one-
setting, yeah, yep.
I'll talk more about it next time.
Interesting.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, good. Any other last minute questions, Bill?
No, awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank
Practice,
you.
practice, practice.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Bye, Jennifer, was really nice to
Yes,
meet
you
you.
you guys too. I'm really
Do
glad
we
I
look
was
like
there.
ourselves?
Yeah, you look nicer. Honestly, you do.
You
Very
guys,
nice to see you in person.
meet Charles Todd at all?
I don't know Charles Todd.
Charles Todd is a mystery writer.
Oh,
Oh,
I love that.
First World War period. Fascinating stuff. She got a very long series, like, I don't know, 20 books about Ian Rutledge, who's a detective from Scotland Yard. He's suffering from PTSD.
Ah, perfect, because the beach just opened, so
Oh.
I just start the whole series and,
Well, the
and
other,
can I do it on audio too?
yes, Audible has it. As a matter of fact, if you look on Audible included, there are, I think there are 5 Charles Todd and 2 Bess Crawfords on there that are free.
Oh. See, but I
Hi, Jesse, you got your mask on. Come on now, but keep the mask on. There you go.
Hi,
This is my son Jesse.
hi Jesse.
That's my wife. Kate. Okay, my son. He just wanted to come sit down here.
Of
So,
course,
Yeah.
natural curiosity. Did you have a nice flight, Jesse? Did you enjoy it? Was it the first time you were on an airplane?
He's been on many. In fact, he was born in Australia.
Oh,
My wife is Australian, so we were there for 6 months at his birth, and we're actually going back in December to make that split time between here and there, but that will be more the primary location.
which makes me think of Janet. Have you
Yeah.
heard from Janet?
Not probably for 3 months, but I did have my one.
So is she in Australia or is she here?
I'm not sure where she is at the moment. I think she's here. I think she's trying to do nice weather.
Oh,
Um,
in both places.
yeah,
This is on, did you know?
Yeah. it was chilly down.
Yeah, I did throw a split shirt in the car and then.
Yeah.
That's perfect now.
Yeah. Turn it off, yeah.
It's all that energy. though.
The mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look forward to seeing
Bye,
you.
Jesse.
See you.
Bye.
Great meeting you.
Bye, David.
Goodbye, Jess.
Bye.
Bye-bye, ladies. Bye-bye.
Oh, Jess, it's nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm not sure when we'll be up again. but
Yeah.
maybe soon.
So you're gonna be going to Australia soon.
Well, we haven't ironed out all the specifics. That's what your shoes are on the wrong foot. Your shoes are on the wrong feet.
Does that feel funny?
I'm sure it does. He's at the stage where he's starting to do this himself. So he wants to let him do it.
Oh, well, that was good. You did a good job of putting them on. Just got the wrong foot this time. Next time you get it right.
So, he's been here primarily from the age 6 months until now. And COVID has really restricted
Oh, yeah.
traveling and visiting there. So her family has gotten very little time with him. So in December probably, which is when your school year starts, he will start kindergarten there and spend the majority of the year there. And we've yet to figure out the specifics as far as when in Florida and then in Australia, but and I may not be in Australia the whole time that they are there.
Yeah.
They're having a home and dogs and everything here
Yeah.
is a big responsibility. I mean, like, all our
Yeah.
assets are essentially tied up in the house.
Yeah.
I can't, we have, in fact, the guy, we got a housemate who
Yeah.
started with us when we went to Australia for his birth in 2018.
Uh-huh.
He's still with us.
Oh, good.
He may or may not be with us long term, but for like now, we're up here for 4 days. We just worked out that he be sure that he's there to take care of the dogs and so on.
Yeah.
I don't know how long into the future he'll be there, but as long as he's there, we have